Welcome to the first edition of the Fighting Fanatics News Center. I'm your host, Bigragu.
And I'm Lewdog, your co-host.
Alright, today we're going to go through the upcoming draft rule changes for the upcoming season and go over the predictions going into the season. The third season of the FFL will begin on the 22nd of August. The draft will start at 2 p.m. sharp. If you're not watching this video, you're already too late, and your membership dues will not be refunded. Thank you.
Remember, this is taped live every Sunday, and you can call in at 555-FFNC, Fighting Fanatics News Center, or F55-3362 for you illiterates. On to the rules.
Well, also, if you waited until the day of the draft to get your stuff together, you're going to be SOL. We have guys drafting in February. Isn't that right, you crazy old Lewdog? Yeah, some of them even made the playoffs. So, Lewdog, tell us about those rule changes that we vote for every year. Well, at least some of us. I mean, those that cared enough to make the awards banquet and all of
To show up, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bore you with the changes or the rules that we had previously, but just the changes. The trades between the teams are free. That is to basically prevent team stacking. The co-commissioners will approve the trades, so that is something that's been reiterated. The second big change is trades will be between Tuesday and Thursday only. I'm tired of getting, panic.
Don't call Saturday morning.
No Ray Rice clown picks again. Big change also is 25 cents for your waiver wire trades.
Absolutely, which, even though it's 25 cents, people, still want it.
We got a lot of cheap people on the teams, but it pays for things like this. At the beginning of the season, we've picked a franchise player. We decided that we're going to actually make that decision at the time of the draft. Putting your name in the hat, so we will have no idea who's going to declare which franchise player. We do have a change on the team makeup. 9 players will be playing, 7 on the bench. No IR reserved. No IR.
Gone. We're tired of calling you for 4 weeks in a row for a player that's completely healthy that just rushed for 100 yards a game for you to actually activate him.
Who would have done that?
I don't know. Some kind of Oats kind of
guy. We did add a point for every 25 yards punt return and a point for every 50 yards kick return.
That's right. Don't worry if you have a .5. I'll erase that just like I do most of your scores to try and make me win a game.
Especially with this tie.
Yes.
After a trade, I don't know who made this rule up, but they want you to hold a player for 3 weeks.
That's right, absolutely. I mean, for the 4 of you that have actually made a trade over the last 2 years, some of us made more than others.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Maximum number of players on a roster, and this is going to be tough for some of us. Quarterbacks are 3, that's okay, but the running back and receivers both top out at 5. That's going to be hard for some of us.
Make it kind of interesting.
Tight ends maximum 2, defense maximum 2, kicker maximum 2. And then the last...
Oh, no.
Some people, I don't know.
People draft kicker 6th round anyway. Come on.
The biggest change I think we have for the year is the point per reception, 1 point per catch.
Absolutely, and if you don't play your cards right, this will really come up and bite you a big one. I mean, this really makes you have to turn your game up and study players and know them in order to get that draft.
All right.
That was pretty awesome there. You did it.
So let's give our prognostication for the upcoming draft. Sparty's up first.
Absolutely. I mean, picking pretty good this year. If you look at it, there are a lot of teams that, if they choose to keep one player, if that's all they have, they're, looking pretty good. I think the Spartans will be, 8-5 playoff bound. That's just me. Great
Spartans
position.
had the 4th highest scoring team last season, and they probably should have had a 12-4 record. It was just matchup, I think.
Yeah, that couldn't win a tie game or game of the week. Still lost.
Next up on draft is the Rovers.
Rovers, absolutely, they're improving. They increased on their position from the past year to the next one 100%. So much improved team. I think they'll go about 5-8 this year.
They were last in the first year, and they're on their meteoric rise. They're going to go nowhere but up. Third on the board is the Bangers.
Yeah, the Headbangers there. Yeah, hard to tell. I mean, he could surprise. It was up and down. He had some bad weeks. I mean, he had the highest scoring game of the season, for over anybody. But he also had the lowest scoring game.
He loves the Steelers. Steelers are going to have another rock solid year. They won the Super Bowl last year. First rate defense. Big bench that have plenty of opportunities. And also, this Bingers likes to draft the #1 kicker in the league early. I noticed that.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Fourth up is the Quakers.
Quakers, the owners was a member of one of the first pro teams of football. He's got a clue. Loves the Bengals. He's always positive on it.
Bengals should have a breakout season. Carson is healthy. Chad is promising playoffs, and the Quakers will probably go to the playoffs as well.
His season will go exactly like the Bengals. I predict 4-9. 5. The Bears.
The Bears.
Biggest drop of the season. It's kind of a shock to go from the playoffs to the cast-offs. I think this is going to be a big year for him. It's going to kind of give you an idea of how he's going to be for the next couple years with this draft.
No, Peyton Manning should have a rock-solid team around him. Peyton is a rock-solid player. His draft position this year should benefit him tremendously.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I think 500 or better. Holders up next.
Holders, man, right on the fringe. Absolutely. This team has been there. They're right there. One of these years they're going to explode on somebody.
Explode. He pulls the full weight of technology in his drafts. He's got a computer. He uses every single resource available to him to get this thing done right.
Absolutely.
Toes come up next.
Yeah, the old Camel Toes. Now, this is another team that's on the fringe. They won the Consolation Bracket Bowl, everything like that. So that was kind of exciting. But their season, they were 5-8. So, is it that coming together at the end, or?
Well, smart team, smart picks. He just had some few disappointments, some close games there that he could have won but just didn't. Next on the board is the Maggots.
Yeah, Brandon Jacobs.
I think I shot himself.
No, man, that was Plaxico Birds. That was on Cornwall.
Maggots are pretty clever with his poetry. He inspired Gramps to write his Maggot Horripilation,
which is posted up over.
He posted it. Pretty good stuff. Maggots should do well. I think he's been in the playoffs 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Lizards. Next up.
The most improved team of the year last year was the Centurions. I still don't know how he spells it, but when you're looking at that, he came all the way from the bottom and he made the playoffs. So with that, anything less than a repeat in the playoffs and possibly even a higher seeding in the playoffs is going to break his heart because he's already spent about 1,000 hours drafting.
Well, quarterbacks are overrated. Lizards up next.
Always dangerous. Very well prepared team. Always making the playoffs. He's always contending for the title, but he hasn't made the championship the last 2 years. He's been on the outside looking in. So is this the year he's a contender or a pretender?
Solid picks every year. He's in the playoffs every year. I see him in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
Next up, Leather Boys. Really strong showing.
Always strong. There's nothing about his team that's weak. He always puts together a solid team. He always puts out a solid team. If you're not scoring very well, you're not going to beat him. I mean, that's the bottom line on that. It's I think anything less than the playoffs, and he's the highest finisher of any of the Dayton squads. So
Leather Boys are always flying high. Crime Boss and Guns next two.
They're both basically the same. I mean, they're interchangeable with the way they've both been in the championship game 2 years in a row. They've both had great picks come for them in the later rounds. So is that luck going to carry over into the draft, or is this the year where they kind of come down and let some of the other teams that have been right at that fringe take over and move up a little?
Brothers, but kind of opposite. Crime Boss doesn't say much, doesn't put much on the smackboard, lets his team speak for himself.
Absolutely, beat you like a dog.
Other hand, Guns is always telling you what he thinks on the smackboard.
And then some.
And then posting a lot, very talkative. What about this new guy who's joining the league?
The Kings. He's young. He's been in these leagues before. This is pretty much almost like how they've grown up. So this isn't new to him. This is he's the wild card in this. We won't know until after the draft, and then we'll have a better idea for next year. The next series of this. So, well, there you have it. If you disagree, do something about it.
Remember, 555 FFNC 555-3362. We take live every Sunday. Call in with your questions.
Absolutely. Best of luck this coming year, and may the best team win. This has been the Fighting Fanatics News Center, and we
are
out.